Let's talk about history a little bit today. I'll start with a backstory. This is a Note 10 Plus. It's got 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity, a 6.8-inch display, and with 12 gigabytes of RAM and an Exynos 9825 processor, you get zippo latency even when you use the big boy brushes on Autodesk Sketchbook across loads of layers with massive resolution images. This is a speed sketch on it. I didn't know I'd get this phone in nice and early though. Thankfully, I got a commission from Creative Block to do an artist's review of it. But I was having a chat with Tommy, Gadgets Boy. He very kindly offered to let me use the device he was going to get in. And we were discussing how I should draw. He said I should draw him. He was joking. He was definitely joking, but it was kind of eye-opener. I always tend to draw pretty young females. It's easier to draw them, and also who doesn't like making stuff they draw look pretty? Challenging myself, I figured I should draw a guy for starters. That's different. I also wanted to draw someone kind of historic figure, still within tech. There was only really one choice, and that was Alan Turing. He shortened the war by 2 years, according to Winston Churchill, for all his faults. And he was able to save, according to historians, 14 million lives in the process. His whole story is a massive tale in acceptance and how far we needed to have come that bit sooner. But it's also a fascinating one. Moving on to the Note 10 Plus though, this is a really beautiful sketching tool. There have been a few comments on the unboxing video, there was one in particular that was like, this phone is no better than the old Notes. And in a lot of ways you're right, but with a bigger screen and the increased power under the hood, it gives you a bigger canvas, and also it gives you less latency when you're using complicated brushes. The way I tend to draw is I do my base layer, which is a line drawing. That's super simple, any phone can do that. Then that's all done by eyes, so it's really rough. I do another line drawing over the top, which is a little bit tidier, and then I try and put a base color on top and put my low lights, so like my dark areas, my shadows, and then I will draw highlights on top of that. All of this processing, every layer you add, with old phones would make them slow down. And also you have to work from a smaller file size picture if you want to work across multiple layers on older devices, whereas now you can kind of make massive, like 12 megapixel images. So this one's around 12 megapixels, and I'm still able, as you can see, to work around it. I literally had no latency except for one time when I was using one of the most ridiculous brushes, and I just went a bit crazy and scratched all over the screen with the pen, and it gave me like a millisecond slowdown. This is definitely the fastest phone experience I've had using this app. Anyway, back to this. So what I tend to do after I put my highlights down, I put lowlights down, I put my highlights down, and then I try and like identify the areas that are really deep dark blacks. The reason I want to do that is I want to make sure I don't get too I guess softy with the blacks. People are scared of using blacks and whites in pictures a lot of the time, and while this is all taken from a faded photo, I still want to make sure I get the impact in there. That said, it is a photo, it isn't a charcoal. So you see those white kind of that I've put in, I need to taper them a little bit because there's no such thing as white on a faded photo. So what you end up with now is like a pretty respectable face, and now it's going to be really all about getting the rest of the picture to match up to it. So that's when I move on to the clothing. I don't know if there's a proper way of doing things, whether you should do the clothing and everything at the same time you do the face. I'm winging it. I haven't really had any formal training. Just enjoy drawing. So every time I get one of these Note devices or the Mate 20X, if you didn't see my sketch of that, you can check it out. It's kind of a dream come true. So with regards to the coat, I found texture to be quite hard. So I decided to make a striated texture, but there was also some speckling going on the coat. Unfortunately, my battery died, so you just get to see the speckles. The combination of the speckles and the striation actually work quite nicely, but I do need to add shadows to make it all look a little bit more realistic. And then just picking up final details that I'm noticing, looking up at the picture, looking back at this. Need to sort out the tie as well, get shadowing on the tie and get some speckles on the tie. And I'm pretty happy with this. But one thing that Autodesk doesn't do, or at least I couldn't find it, is Gaussian Blur. If you don't know what a Gaussian Blur is, it's basically just blurs out things, but you can dictate the amount of blur. And to give this image perspective, and the perspective that was in the photo, which looks like it was either artificially blurred or blurred with a DSLR, I wanted to apply that. So Sketchbook allows you to export to Photoshop. Exporting this file as a multi-layered PSD file, I was able to make a blurred layer and then copied that over the top of the regular one, then delete the blurred one with a very, very soft eraser tool to pull out the background blur I was after. I also felt that the edges were a little bit too sharp even when they were blurred, so I wanted to smudge them out a little bit. And that's that. That's my image of Alan Turing drawn on the Note 10 Plus. Just without a doubt the best sketching experience. This is a very, very expensive phone, and I would not say it was for everybody. And the Note 9 is still plenty good for sketching. You could absolutely do this exact same sketch on the Note 9. But I really love the Note 10, and when the price goes down and it becomes more accessible, it will be even better. Right now though, if you are mad on art, you have a fairly sizable disposable income, and you want the best of the best, this most certainly is it for drawing on the go. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please do subscribe to the channel. It helps me out massively. Any questions, fire them in the comments section below.